I'm Jason UFC, and today we have a story about recently retired UFC fighter Glover Teixeira says UFC middleweight champion Alex Pereira must be more alert for his UFC 287 title defense rematch versus Israel Adesanya. Glover Teixeira says focus and alertness are the keys to Alex Pereira remaining the champion at UFC 287 with a victory over Israel Adesanya. Pereira, 4-0 in the UFC, has proven to have Israel Adesanya's number during their three combat sports. The reigning UFC middleweight champion has won 2 fights versus Israel Adesanya in kickboxing and 1 fight in MMA. 2 knockouts, right? 2 TKOs. One was a knockout, and I think the MMA one was a TKO win. But the first fight was in kickboxing. It was a decision victory. The MMA win was the most profile of the bunch with, well, I wouldn't say that, but I mean, it was a good one. With Pereira pulling off a come from behind rally that saw him claim the UFC 185 bout with a 5th round TKO of Israel Adesanya last November 2022 at UFC 281. He's now 3-0 in head-to-head matchups with Israel Adesanya, but Israel Adesanya has arguably won the, okay, I'm not going to even go over that. That doesn't make any sense. Recently retired Glover Teixeira, who serves as Alex Pereira's coach and training partner. I would imagine training partner, knows the next fight between Pereira and Adesanya is likely to be the most difficult of the bunch. He knows it's going to take an exceptional performance to win again, and said execution has been the key focus of this training camp for Alex Pereira. Pereira knows the way he won the last fight. He waited too much to pull the trigger. Glover Teixeira told MMA Junkie, Pereira just needs to be more alert in this fight because he's fast. Israel moves a lot, and that's what we've been working on. Be more alert, be focused, and when the opportunity comes, just take the fight to the finish. Pereira is a finisher. Pereira can finish a fight at any given second. Pereira's a powerhouse. The guy hits so hard, and he's just got to pressure more and get it done, like Pereira did in the 5th round. Of course, Pereira knows not to just go crazy and try to finish the fight in the 1st round, but he needs to be more alert. If Pereira is able to win at UFC 287, which takes place in Miami-Dade Arena in Miami on April 8th, 2023, Pereira can move on from Israel Adesanya and look ahead to new challenges if that's what happens. What exactly those challenges look like is unclear, but Teixeira says his fellow Brazilian has the ability to compete across 3 weight classes and wouldn't rule out a change in divisions down the line. Okay, eventually Pereira will, Teixeira says. We talk about it. Pereira can fight anywhere. Look at this guy. He can fight in any division. He can fight in heavyweight, light heavyweight. He's big. Eventually, I think Pereira's going to want to do that because the weight cut is a big cut for him. It's so interesting that they put that information. This is like a bash Pereira. It's just, okay, anyway. Pereira doesn't complain. Pereira just keeps going and doing it because Pereira likes to be 185 pounds, and Pereira felt good. But Pereira can do 205 pounds light heavyweight for sure, and eventually it might happen because if Pereira goes up, there are super fights, big fights. I think it's a possibility. Now, for this last paragraph here, it's interesting that, the interview starts with that Pereira needs to be more alert, that he took a lot of time to finish Israel Adesanya. He didn't take many opportunities, I guess, in the early rounds, and a lot of people were saying that he was behind on the scorecard to, if that fifth round ended and he didn't get to TKO, he probably would have lost by a decision. And now we also have another thing that Teixeira is just throwing out there, not to say like, hey, with a loss here, Pereira will move up, because he's talking about super fights. He wants Pereira to probably be champion and then move up. But one thing that was interesting, wasn't the biggest story in the world, is that last year when at UFC 281, I believe, with Pereira versus Israel Adesanya, and it wasn't a big deal, but just a little side note, just something to put out there with this paragraph, is that Alex Pereira weighed in, I think it was like 15 seconds before the end of the weigh-in. Like, he literally weighed in last. Like, there was no words. There was, no one made any controversy about it. And I don't know if he has he definitely clearly has a difficult weight cut, because Pereira is a big boy. But now, Teixeira is just throwing it out there like, hey, Pereira's a big boy. He wouldn't mind going up to 205 pounds, and also think about it, when Pereira and Chimaev were going back and forth, where did Pereira offer to fight Chimaev? In the light heavyweight division, right? He didn't say, hey, I'm the middleweight champion, fight me in the middleweight champion. He's talking to a welterweight fighter, Chimaev, who weighs 170 pounds, in some fights, but, offering to fight a welterweight fighter in a 205-pound division. I've never seen that before, right? And now we have Teixeira saying like, yeah, he could fight at heavyweight, like, he could fight at light heavyweight, right? There's definitely some inkling that, this guy making weight at 185 pounds is just a little bit, it may be a little bit too much. I don't think he's going to miss weight. But like I said, last year, we do have to just put that out there that, hopefully it doesn't happen, of course not. But we do have to put it out there that Pereira was the last person to weigh in last year. He offered to fight Chimaev at 205 pounds. I don't think it's going to be a problem for the weight cut, because obviously he's a champion. He has a lot more, going into making weight for this fight. So it should be a fine weight cut. But we clearly see Pereira putting it out there that he, I don't know how many fights, like they said, the challenge after this, does he wait, does he beat Israel Adesanya and fight a Robert Whittaker at middleweight? Is that, where it's at? Or does Pereira want to fight, the winner of Jamal Hill versus Yuri Prochazka, right? Like, I'm pretty sure Pereira wouldn't mind the winner of that fight, because Jamal Hill recently defeated Glover Teixeira, who's, Pereira's training coach and partner, and then Glover Teixeira retired after that fight. So I'm pretty sure there's some smoke there between Pereira and Jamal Hill and the winner of that fight. So I wouldn't be surprised if next year around this time, Pereira, having defeated Israel like 4 times, maybe defeated another middleweight champion, and just saying like, you know what, let's just move up, right? I wouldn't be surprised to see Pereira move up to the light heavyweight division sooner rather than later. But I'm Jason, UFC. Today we had a story about Glover Teixeira, recently retired UFC fighter Glover Teixeira, Alex Pereira's training coach, says that the UFC middleweight champion Alex Pereira must be more alert for his UFC undisputed championship defense versus Israel Adesanya at UFC 287. Who do you have winning this fight? And still or and new? Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the $1 donation button, and please tune in to the next video on this channel. Thanks a million for watching.